What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and today we're going to show you the best things to do in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Let's do it.
We're going to show you all around Colombo as well as go around Sri Lanka here.
All right, now we are at the Lotus Tower. This is the tallest tower in South Asia. We're going to go to the top. Let's do it.
The tower itself is 356 meters tall. That's 1,168 feet. So it is quite tall, and it is a bit intimidating when you're looking at it from the ground level up. But the good news is, once you get in the elevator, all your fears will go away and you start to move up very quickly, and then before you know it, you're at the top. Now the price to get in here is $20 US for children and adults, but if you're from Sri Lanka, it's about 500 rupiah. Now you do get the ticket for the observation deck, and it is open air. They also have a restaurant up here, so depending on what you're looking for, you can get multiple different experiences. I just did the observation deck and didn't need a reservation, but now here we are at the Pettah Market. This is another area to walk around. This is a local area for those of you who are looking for more of that local experience. There's also food and attractions and shopping down here. I would say plan your trip down here late afternoon, early evening. That's when it has the most vibrance. This is one of the busiest and most crowded places in Colombo, and it's a maze of different streets for you to explore. Now, for most of you, you may be coming down here to visit the Red Mosque. Now, the Red Mosque is one of the most famous areas in all of the city. You can see with this beautiful red and white kind of candy cane decoration on the outside. You go on the interior, you can see that they're still developing it and shaping it, so it's still under construction, but you can still tour it. There could be a wait time. You may want to get a reservation or a tour. It is open from 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., 1 to 3 p.m., and then 4:15 to 6 p.m. it does close. Also, ladies, you are going to have to cover up. Men, they will also give you something to put over your clothes as well when you're here. Now, you'll notice right along the waterfront in Colombo, there's train track, but you can get a train all around Sri Lanka. The actual most famous route in the country is from Kandy to Yala. For those of you who are interested in that, that's the famous blue train. And the red train is the one that goes along the coastline in Colombo.
So here we are at the Bentara River here in Bentota. We're going to show you guys around on a boat tour.
Now this river here is very beautiful. They do have hotels and other accommodation down here. I actually chose to do the river safari for about an hour. That costs around $60 US. But they have water sports here. You can see the jet skis. They have other boat tours, speed boats. It'll take you up the river for 15 minutes. But this river safari was probably the best one for me. And I did see lots of animals. Well, so far we've seen monkeys, flying foxes, monitor lizards, flying fish, frogs, crocodile. The river does dump into the Indian Ocean, as you can see here.
And this one's for those of you who like animals. This here is a turtle hatchery just north of Galle. Let's take a look.
And along with being a hatchery, it's also a rescue. You will see there are several animals that have been rescued here, along with these baby turtles.
So we've got some green sea turtles right here, little babies. This one here is very calm. Just calm down. They like me, maybe. I don't know. No pooping on me yet, but soon they're going to be released. Can't go yet because eagles might take them if we release them too early. Okay.
Yeah, put it in bubbles.
Sri Lanka does have a variety of sea turtles, including the olive ridley turtle and the green sea turtle. So now here we are on the southern part of the island. This here is Galle. There's a lot of history here along with beautiful beaches. Most of the temples down here are going to be Buddhist. I was feeling a bit under the weather, so I decided to get some fresh squeezed orange juice. This is more of a sour type orange.
On orange, it's actually sour. It's not sweet at all. It's good for your immune system if you have a cold. Just something to do
if
right
you have
now.
a cough.
Yeah, if you have phlegm, cough, just give it a try. Usually they give you some ice and some sugar, but I'm doing it without. Tastes a bit like a grapefruit, but it's good.
Here we are now at Galle Fort, an old British fort. And I misspoke a bit, it's more of a Dutch fort, but because the British took over after the Dutch, they were also using it. The Dutch East India Company was here, as well as the British East India Company, but remember, it used to be called Ceylon, so it would have been Dutch Ceylon back then, not Sri Lanka. Now the south side of the island where Galle is, this is where the best beaches are considered to be, including Marissa. Also Jungle Beach is very famous. Then you have Tengali, Unawa tuna, which is one of the more famous ones as well. A famous attraction down here is going to be Stilt FisherMan. Just keep in mind when you get close to them, if you start taking pictures, they may ask you for a tip, so be prepared for that. But Stilt FisherMan is an ancient tradition dating all the way back many moons for the local people here. So now we'll head back up to Colombo. This here is the BareFoot Garden Cafe. This is like a boutique art gallery as well as the garden cafe. Most of the people that are going to be here are going to be tourists because this is a very popular place with tourists. So this is more of a touristy type place for sure for those of you who are looking for that. You can come here in the mornings, but I would say this is a popular place with people who are just getting started their day, probably maybe a lunch. So I would say 1 or 2 o'clock showing up here seems to be an ideal time. Be ready to do a little bit of browsing and shopping. Now let's talk about food here in Sri Lanka. I absolutely love Sri Lanka food. It's so tasty, but here you can try hoppers, which is a breakfast dish, like a crispy pancake. You have rice and curry. Then you have kotu, which is more of a street food. It's like a chopped roti, vegetables, and eggs. Then you have lamprais, which is a dish of rice, vegetables, and meat wrapped in a banana leaf. So much different food, and of course, lots of seafood here. Sri Lanka is known for its seafood, crab, shrimp, all that stuff. And usually when you go to a Sri Lanka food restaurant, you'll get a variety of different foods. I would say just tell them, put a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and have them stack it all onto the tray for you and give it a try and see which one you like, and then maybe go up to the counter and ask them what it's called so you know for next time. But here is a look at some of those jumbo prawns, and wow, that was amazing seafood. Now let's talk about chasing waterfalls. There's so many waterfalls in Sri Lanka, it's hard to recommend just one. I mean, you could go for the tallest one, you could go to Dialuma Falls, you could go to Ramboda Falls, Baker's Falls. There's so many around here. Head out towards Yala, that's where they're really going to be, maybe around Kandy a bit, but chasing waterfalls, something to do. And if you guys are enjoying the Sri Lanka video so far, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Your support means a lot to us. That's what helps keep these videos coming. So if you enjoy them, thank you for all your support. Now here we are in Kandy. This is one of the most famous tourist destinations and places to visit here in Sri Lanka. It is about a 2.5 hour to 3 hour drive to get out here. There are toll roads, so I would recommend trying to go for one of those. But Kandy, you may want to stay a couple nights in Kandy, but the big attraction here is the Temple of the Tooth Relic, which makes Kandy a sacred site. And just north of Kandy is Sigiriya Rock Fortress. You can actually hike up to the top of this beautiful fortress. You can see these rocks are a heck of a formation. They just pop right out of the jungle like this. And getting up there is quite the experience. This is one of the top sites in all of the world right now. So a very sacred place here in Sri Lanka, also known as the Lion Rock Sinhala. Now let's talk about the national parks for all you nature lovers and to do wildlife spotting. You can check out Yala National Park, Udawalava National Park as well. And some of the animals you may see on the safari are going to be the Sri Lankan leopard. You also have the Asian elephant or the Sri Lankan elephant, which is a bit bigger than a regular Asian elephant, sloth bears. And as with the turtle hatcheries, there's also elephant orphanages and sanctuaries that you can visit and support. Do some research online so you find the ones that you feel comfortable going to. So if you guys are looking for a travel guide, this is my guide who showed me all around. He's done a great job. And if you guys want to contact him, I'll put his contact link information down here on the side. But this is Geet.
Hello. Welcome to Sri Lanka.
Yes, here we are at the Gangaramaya Temple. This is one of the oldest Buddhist temples in all of Sri Lanka.
Located nearby the Bira Lake, it was completed around the 19th century, and it incorporates Sri Lankan, Thai, Indian, and Chinese Buddhist architecture. Here you'll find some interesting relics, and just walking around here, you'll come across some monks. You also have a museum and a library here that you can study. And you'll see so much history related to the Buddhist culture here in Sri Lanka. That's what you're really looking for here. It's a historical place to learn and check out the relics. And that's what makes Sri Lanka so interesting. It's kind of like India with the food and the culture a bit, but it's Buddhist. It's not Hindu. That's what makes Sri Lanka so unique compared to India. Now we're at the Galle Green Face here, a nice place to get a good sunset. So it's basically a park here right along the waterfront. Behind it is going to be some 5-star resorts like Shangri-La and several other 5-star resorts. But this here is a nice place to get that sunset. They're going to have local cuisine, street food. Also, people are going to be playing music and doing street performances typically. But really, people are here for that sunset. In the middle of the afternoon, it's a bit hot to be here. So you maybe come here in the morning or for the sunset. But probably that sunset is what you want. And we recently did a video about the 12 most important things you need to know when visiting Sri Lanka. I'll put a link to that below. I highly recommend you watch that. So don't forget to watch that at the end of this video. Now we're here at the Monument of Independence. Sri Lanka, which actually used to be called Ceylon, gained its independence from the British rule on February 4th, 1948, and this monument celebrates that. There is a museum here. Before it was the British, it was the Dutch, and before it was the Dutch, it was the Portuguese who actually gave it the name Ceylon. And outside of the monument, they had these snake charmers. That was quite interesting to see. These are real cobras, so I would suggest not getting too close. They also had a python. But yeah, the Monument of Independence, it's definitely a place to check out if you're looking for some historical information, and you can go to the museum right below the monument. The entrance fee is around $2 to $3, and maybe you'll spend 15 to 20 minutes walking through the museum, but you'll end up walking away with more information about the founders and learning about Sri Lanka independence. And now what we're going to do is actually show you around a little bit of the nightlife. There isn't much going on in Colombo at night, but there is something. So one of the other areas to check out is the Dutch Hospital Precinct area. Lots of restaurants in this little square area. There's not like nightclubs and bars and pubs like you're gonna find in, say, Thailand or anything. It really is a chilled out place, but the Dutch Hospital has food and cafes at nighttime. You can get some really delicious seafood or Indian cuisine here. This is the oldest building in Colombo, and as the name suggests, this is the old Dutch hospital. So that kind of makes it a bit eerie, but now it's just a shopping and dining precinct. When I was in Colombo, I actually stayed at the Hilton Hotel, which is basically across the street from here. So that may be a place for you guys to consider staying. They had a sauna, a big pool. It's in a really good location and decent price. And in case you guys are curious, I also stayed at the Sheraton. If you check Island Hopper TV hotels, I reviewed both of those hotels in more detail. You can go to that channel next. But basically the Sheraton is just a little bit newer. All right, so we've come to the Herbal Garden here, and these guys are going to show us around what they have out here in Sri Lanka. So let's take a look.
99 Herbal Garden.
A lot of the herbs and spices and teas came from here in Sri Lanka that you see imported around the world. So do pay attention to this. But let's check out some of the tea. Yeah, so when you come to Sri Lanka, you've got to check out the tea and spices. We're here at Tea Gate. We're going to take a look at some of the tea and spices that they have here. Let's go inside. For those of you who are familiar with English breakfast or some other green teas, a lot of that comes from here in Sri Lanka. So you're going to learn a lot at one of these tea shops where they also have spices, fresh cinnamon, and I ended up buying some golden white tea. They also had soursop tea. There's a lot of health benefits to this stuff.
Have you heard about white tea?
Green tea?
White tea is decaffeinated.
Oh.
These two are decaffeinated. This is less caffeine, it's green tea, and this is all caffeine.
Okay.
Right? Not from the different plant, same plant only. But this white tea is the first virgin bud of the tea plant. First virgin bud.
Oh.
We pluck it before sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
Why we pluck it before sunrise? The color is purplish.
Okay.
Broken orange pepper. This is the English breakfast tea. This is English breakfast. You know, see, light of fruit is very good to dissolve the kidney stones. And now the scientists have found out it has anti-cancer properties.
Soursop.
Yeah. So we blended the dry fruit particles with the black tea.
Oh, I see.
Most premium herbal you get it in Sri Lanka. This is the first virgin bud of the tea plant, and this is dried under the sunlight for 45 days, but not in the heavy sun, just in the morning 2 hours, because we don't want to expose to the heavy heat. We want to prevent the nutritional value of this one. Most of the people, they drink the white tea, not the purpose of drinking tea. This gives a lot of health benefit from head to toe. But for that, you have to do it in a proper way. You should not add boiling water to brew this tea. You take 10 to 12 pinches, put it into a bowl, pour warm water, it will cover for 5 minutes or 4 minutes, drink it, and reuse it. Every time you increase 1 by 1 minute.
What are the health benefits of the...
It will improve your immune system. Right? This will not cure anything, but this will prevent a lot of things. Blood pressure control, sugar level, and cholesterol. All these benefit from head to toe.
So it's like an immune system enhancer.
It will enhance the immune system.
And this is golden tea, which is basically white tea with...
Dried for 45 days. White tea is dried for 30 days only.
So this is golden tea, which is essentially white
Golden
tea,
tea,
just
yeah.
45 days instead of 30
Just
days.
to enhance the aroma.
Enhance the aroma.
Yes.
So it's got a more fine taste.
That's right.
And here's all the health benefits of white tea, yeah?
Yes.
The Sri Lankan cinnamon gives the flavor is sweet and strong. It's very subtle, very mild. Not spicy, not burning taste, or not like woodish.
Really?
But if you are looking for some nightlife activities, something to do at sunset, heading out to some of the rooftop bars, they have one at the Amari. This one here is the Sheraton. So in this area around the Sheraton, the Amari, they have a couple different rooftop bars, but it is a scene that is gaining popularity in Colombo just because they have that beautiful balcony view right there at the sunset into the Indian Ocean. I hope you all have a safe and awesome trip to Sri Lanka. We'll see you on the next one where we talk about the 12 most important things you need to know when visiting Sri Lanka. See you over there. You can click here next.